Okay, so in this video we're going to have a look at the parts and how you add those into your inventory. So if we click into the parts section from our main screen in here. Okay, now we can see we've got our list view here, so there's a bunch of parts already entered in here. We can see some basic information around them from SKUs, the name, description, some sizes, the quantity in stock and so forth. I'm going to have a look at this one here, and as well, this one here is highlighted in red because it's in alert at the moment. And we'll look at this one actually, the green Sculpey clay. That's why that one's highlighted in green, so that's our selected one. So we'll just click on there. Okay, with most things fairly self-explanatory, so we put in obviously our part name, we can select a category from our list, or we can add categories in if we need to. Just go into the drop down here, we can type in new ones. A part SKU number will automatically get added, or you can actually override those as long as they don't duplicate them. The size and weight, we can look at that. That's in the dimensions and weights volume tab. We'll look at in a second. You can put in here manufacturer item ID, so this may be a reference number for you for reordering, or you can actually put in a supplier's part URL. So if there's a website that you buy this part from particularly and you know where that is, you can save the link in here. You could click on here. Once you put in the link in, that will take you directly to the vendor's website, and then you can buy that straight online there. Add in a description, and you can also insert a picture. And what Craftmaker Pro will do, so once you've added in some purchases, it will actually work out the number of units you've got in stock, and you can put in an alert in here as well, which we cover in the alerts video, to tell you when you're running low on stock. So we have a couple of entries in here already. We'll just go through and show you how to put one in. So we're going to add a new purchase, and we'll say that on this date, and same vendor, and let's say it was $4 for this one. We're not going to put tax on here. We'll say it's exactly the same per kilo. Got one pack with 3 in it, and our shipping costs $2 for example for this one. So our units in stock go up all the time, obviously, if we're adding stuff in, and as we start using our parts in our pieces, then it will actually start taking that out of our stock. Now what we get down here, so our unit price preference, so we have a few different options here. So we have our default one, which is the weighted average unit price, and there's an explanation for all of them here. So if we just have a quick look in the drop down, so we have our maximum, average, or weighted, or most recent unit price. So if we have a look at the option here, okay, we can see 4 different price models. So weighted average unit price is the total of all units purchased divided by total cost, and I would suggest this is normally the most accurate one that you would use. Average unit price is the average price of unit purchases divided by the number of purchases. Maximum unit price is the highest unit price of any purchase, or most recent unit price, the last unit price of a purchase. Maximum or most recent unit price, you may well use these if you're using precious metals, so gold or silver. You may want to use the maximum price that you paid or the most recent price, because precious metals can fluctuate, and you may not want to be using your weighted or average unit price for that, because it could end up costing you money if you've bought gold, for example, at a higher price and then suddenly managed to get some cheaper. That's going to bring down your average pricing, and you could end up actually undervaluing your materials when you put them into a piece. So if you just select, we can see here we could do our maximum. So it picks our maximum price here, which was $5 that we've paid. Average, so we just work out the average of this cost divided by the number of purchases we've actually made. Our weighted average unit price, which we can see is slightly different, and again I would suggest this is the most accurate one to use. Or we could use our most recent unit price, which we can see is this one here from the 28th. So we've got our unit price up there. Okay, so the dimensions and weights, which we can see here, if you click on this, it will tell you to go into the dimensions and weights volumes tab anyway. So if we were to click here, it will come up with this and tell you that you need to go in there. So we'll just say yes, which will automatically take us there. So you can add in some sizes, weights, volumes. Now, depending on what your part is that you're actually entering may depend on what you need to put in. Not everything will necessarily require all of these to be added, and there's no requirement to put in any of them if you don't want to. The inventory is actually just calculated. If we go back to the purchasing for a second, the inventory is calculated by your total units in stock, which is worked out when you actually add in your purchases in here. So you don't have to put in dimensions, weights and volumes, but we'll discuss this further in the dimensions, weights and volumes video, which explains how these work and how to edit the tables. But these are essentially used so that when you're creating a piece, then Craftmaker Pro can actually work out the volume of a piece or the weight or the size based on the parts that you've used to create it. So if you do put information in here, that's where it gets used in the creation of a piece later on. Now, again, there's no real requirement to actually fill in everything here or all these fields. Obviously, with this one, we've got a piece of clay, which can be three-dimensional, so we can have a length, width, and depth. So the size of the blade here can be 10 by 10 by 10. If we only had something which had a length, we can take that out and it will only display one size. So it's very simple just to put in what you actually need and select your sizing. So these will come from your defaults. You can adjust these as you want, and we can edit the tables, but we'll cover the conversion tables, how we edit those in the dimensions, weights and volumes training video. Now, the part history, if we have a look in here, it will give you a history of your part. So this part green clay has actually been used to create a clay pair. So you can actually click into the piece, and it will show you here that this piece, this piece, the clay pair, has actually used some green clay within it. So that will take you back and forth and make it easy for you to find out which parts you've used in which pieces. And again, you can click back from here and it will take you straight back into that part. So that's a very simple way that you can get back and forth and actually track what you've used and where you've used it. So just fill in all the details and make sure that you put in your purchases when you've actually bought new items, and then Craftmaker Pro will actually take care of the inventory for you.